Hello, it's Adam Morrison. When it comes to top-tier contracting, my go-to choice is McGillivray Environmental. I know a thing or two about excellence, and that's exactly what you'll find with Kip McGillivray and his team. They're not just any contractor, they're the best in Spokane and North Idaho. From start to finish, they ensure your project is completed with the highest quality results. With years of experience and expertise, they handle it all. New construction, meticulous repairs, asphalt paving for residential and commercial properties, excavation, and even environmental remediation. So why wait? Reach out to Kip McGillivray Environmental today by calling 208-556-6384 for your free estimate. Don't forget to mention my name, Adam Morrison, and experience the difference McGillivray Environmental brings to the table. Again, that's 208-556-6384, McGillivray Environmental. My number one choice for all my contracting needs. M4CPA is a family-owned accounting firm passionate about helping businesses and their owners create a secure future for their families. They pride themselves on the quality of their work and put their clients first, ensuring they get the attention and care they deserve. Their mission is to provide exceptional accounting services to help you achieve your financial goals. M4CPA is all about building long-term relationships based on trust, integrity, and transparency. With a team of experienced professionals, they offer personalized solutions to meet your needs. If you're a Perimeter listener, here's an exclusive offer for you. Mention the Perimeter podcast when you reach out to M4CPA and get a free business consultation to assess your financial strategies. So, if you're looking for an accounting firm that truly cares about your business, trust M4CPA. Accounting you can trust with a personal touch. Learn more at M4CPA.com. Welcome to the Perimeter, Season 5, Episode 18, presented by McGillivray Environmental, Idaho Central Credit Union, M4CPA. Sorry for the break. We had some scheduling issues. Brendan was out of town. I was out of town. We were going to do a Zoom one, but it didn't make sense. I never like how the Zoom ones sound. They're just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and it was very like, being in Japan, like the time difference is like it never, like it's always like if it's the morning there, it's the evening here. If it's the evening there, it's the morning here. Like it's never, I was always asleep when it was like perfect time for you to do it. So.
And I just honestly think like when you do it over Zoom, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, let's just wait because we had the weird gap too because we had a Wednesday game.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, let's just wait until the Santa Clara, San Francisco. We beat WSU by a lot.
Yeah. So
I don't think we need to even cover that game, but we're obviously going to recap Santa Clara and San Francisco, talk a little bit about Pacific, but it's getting kind of crunch time too for seeding talk. You know, We'll kind of have a little bit of an idea of that. I think Lenardi has us as a 3 seed.
Yep.
He's a pretty reliable source. And so, these next 3 games are pretty massive in the sense that if we don't have a slip up, we can wrap the league up on against Portland on senior night.
Yeah.
And that means the game in at St. Mary's, quote unquote, doesn't matter, but it does. But we still win the league title. We still have the number 1 seed. It matters immensely for them because Santa Clara still got work to do.
Yep.
But it gives us another quad 1, so then maybe we move up to a seed line 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I think 3 and 4 is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
I figured that about halfway through this season. I know early on people are like, we could be a 1 seed. I was like, it's just after the Michigan game, and it's not just because of that, but it's like, 1 seed's a different metric.
Definitely.
And so I was like 2 through 4. And so that's right obviously in the mean of that, in the middle. So, right now we're 11 in the coaches, 11 in the AP, 8 in the coaches, 9 in the KenPom, which is always the one we look at the most, the net rankings. I think our listeners kind of start to understand you can look at the media rankings, doesn't mean anything really,
right.
and it's not a knock, but it just doesn't mean anything. But we go down to Santa Clara, and I've talked about it throughout this year. It's kind of weird having these last hurrah in some of these buildings, and so you're like, thinking of as we're getting down there, thinking of like the magnitude of the game, and Tom Hudson on our broadcast did a good point. He's like, they haven't had a game for first place in probably 30 years,
and this is just crazy to even think. And so going into that game, it was for first place. You're obviously playing a Gonzaga team that you've beat once out of 2 years in a row, but one time down there 2 years ago, and then another time at their place or at our place the year prior. So it's like, holy, this has got some real juice, and the building felt exactly like that. It was awesome environment.
Yeah.
They do a pretty good job with their student section, even though, they probably don't go to a ton of games. There's legit energy in the air. So when they came out, they got up to a 17-9 lead. I wasn't worried because I figured just not, and it's not Monday morning quarterbacking. We're like, oh, I was right. But I was just like, this team in Santa Clara is going to come out and make a few shots early. The crowd's going to be hyped. We might not be nervous, but just a little bit taken back. And that's exactly what happened. But I didn't feel like we were not ready for the moment. And once we kind of settled our feet, it turned into a nice back and forth kind of first half. Graham was terrific in that first half. Adam Miller got himself going, which was nice to see. We'll talk about that later on, the perimeter scoring. And then Tyon had a great first half as well. So, we shoot 51%. You can never complain about that. 2 for 9 from the field. Obviously, that's not great. We win the rebounding battle. We were taking care of the basketball. They shot it all right, 15 of 33, 4 of 13 from 3. That is something that was a big emphasis in that game, was the three-point shooting for them. They shoot 30 to 35 a game. They have the ability to knock those things down. And we held them with a check. 4-13 is terrific.
Yeah.
And we ended up having a 5-point lead in the first half. So it was like, all right, we withstood their initial thrust. A lot of that has to do with the crowd. They got good players, you know what I mean? But it's like, okay, let's get back to business. And we looked the part. And, like I said, going to halftime with a 5-point lead, I felt good about it as just from a fan standpoint and watching it. Was like, okay, anything can happen in the second half, but I feel like we're playing under control. Graham's getting himself going, once he got over the booze and all that stuff that was happening in that game. They actually had pamphlets that they passed out. This is what we used to do. So it'd be like, number one villain of the game was Graham E.K. in a full paragraph, and then 3 other of our main guys. Then a thing on Coach Few, and then
oh my gosh,
yeah,
like with facts,
yeah,
like
yeah, like facts.
yell at them, and
yeah, but like
awesome.
A little bit satire in there mixed in there too, but nothing over the line. But yeah, they that's what the Kennel Club used to do. So I was like, all right,
that's
sweet.
cool.
Yeah, it was cool, and so it literally said every time he touches the ball in Graham EK, boo. And so the students booed every time time. Yeah. So anyway, it was unique in that standpoint. It felt like a good college basketball atmosphere. And then in that second half, it was a back and forth game. Actually, it was a fun game to call. We ended up winning by 8, but it was 50-47 in the second half. So my point is, like, it was tight, but it was skilled play.
Yeah.
Graham finished with 21 and 15 on 10 of 15. Emmanuel was terrific. He goes 16 points, 6 rebounds. He plays 39 minutes. I'll get into that later, talking about the rotation and how the year progresses. But he plays 38 minutes, which you rarely see, right? And then Adam Miller goes 6 of 9. He has 21, his best game of his Zag. Mario was solid off the bench, goes 8 and 5 and 4, solid in 32 minutes, but he plays a ton of minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Davis Fogel was 3 of 5, has 6 points, but he had that 6 points all in one succession in the second half.
Yeah.
Remember, he had the steal, he had the bucket before, then he has the steal, and then he had one where he caught one and dumped it off to somebody. So like 6 straight points were because of his play. And so my point of mentioning all these guys, and then Tyon 7 of 12, 20 points, 7 rebounds, is it was one of those games where mostly every guy that participated had a true impact on the game. And we ended up winning by 8, like I mentioned. That's a quad 1 win, probably.
It was, yeah.
It's a quad 1 win. So they have them as the last 4 in. And obviously they still got to take care of business. They still have to play St. Mary's again. I think they're at St. Mary's, so who knows?
Yeah.
But that Santa Clara team is good. And I was just really proud of how, solid our guys played and how they handled the road record or the road atmosphere. We were 17-27 in the second half, 63%, 1-9 from 3, not great. So overall, we shoot 56%, 3 of 18, not good again from 3, 19-29 from the free throw line. That's obviously not good. But go +9 on the glass, 22 assists, only 9 turnovers. But it was a legitimate team, hard-fought win, with perimeter play, with Graham inside, and then it gave us, basically a 2-game lead in theory in the West Coast Conference. So it was a massive win, and it was kind of cool to play in that atmosphere again. And it was a little nostalgia, sad. He was like, man, I'm not gonna come to this cool gym again and play a unique team like this, a unique university. It had a little bit of everything, at the end of it, but it was a terrific win. That Santa Clara team looks the part. I mean, they're 22-6, 13-2 in the league. Like I mentioned, there's publications or whatever the bracketologists have them as in, and I think the last time we looked, it was like they're 38 in the Ken Palm or whatever. So they're, that's the meat. If you're in the mid 30s, usually you get an at large.
Yeah, 39
historically.
Right now.
It's usually not almost guaranteed, but it's hard to keep you out, right? So it was a nice win. We did a good job on their main guys for the most part. They've got a good team. That Hammond guard is good. Mahi's a different matchup inside. I love the big kid, Abuye, even though he didn't score well. His just athleticism around the rim is unbelievable. He looks like a and I got to say this right, but he looks like an NBA backup center, backup big. Like, it's just his length and then the springiness. Obviously, he's going to gain a little weight, but there's a lot of thin guys in that league that can just run and jump. And he looks, you know what I mean? Like, and Huddy understands the game, but he's like, holy cow. I'm like, and Huddy's like, that's what NBA guys look like. I'm like, yeah, they're everywhere. But that once you see one in the college game, you're like, oh, there's one right there. You know what I mean? Yeah, you just go, oh, there's one right there. And he has that look because he scored, I think, the first 4 for them. Remember, it's just offensive rebounds, and it was like, oh, he's on the other side of the floor. Then he goes and gets it, and just springs up. You're like, yeah, that's what that league is full of, and so he'll get a chance. So yeah, very good win. There would be a tough out. Whoever, hopefully, they get on the other side.
Yeah.
But now St. Mary's, assuming we take care of business against Pacific. And then against Portland, I know Portland beat us. Yeah. And so that's not going to be a walkthrough, but it's going to be senior night. I have imagined we're going to do all right. It'll be curious to see who's fighting to get on the other side of that bracket.
Yeah.
Because we've, you know what I mean? It gets kind of interesting because then if they obviously finish second in the Santa Clara, then that means we'd play St. Mary's. It goes, or we'd play Pacific if it holds. And those two teams, Santa Clara, St. Mary's, have to beat the crap out of each other.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah.
On semifinal night
until we get like San Francisco, right?
Yeah, no, we would get Pacific's in 4th right now.
Oh, they're the 4th right now.
They're in 4th.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's interesting that it would be finally not finally is the wrong thing because when BYU was there. But it literally used to go, okay, hey, that first round game, nobody said it out loud, but like the 1-4 is a big difference than that 2-3 because it used to be BYU and St. Mary's that beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
We'd play San Fran or whatever. It'd be a hard game, but we'd win by 15. And then then they tip off at 9 and you watch them beat the piss out of each other, and they're like, oh yeah, you got to play us to get to the tournament, you know what I mean? So like it was a real advantage, but terrific win. We did the weird WCC schedule. We played San Francisco on Wednesday, so we flew back in town for a day and a half or whatever it was, and then go right back down to the Bay. And we played, this is the third year in a row playing the Chase Center. And again, this whole deal is about money, and that's not a knock, but you got to pay bills. But it was really disappointing not to play one more game in War Memorial. That's one of the coolest gyms on the West Coast. I don't care what anybody says. Like, it's on the hilltop. It's like a unique atmosphere where you kind of just walk up. Like, it's like in a neighborhood.
Right.
It literally is like in a neighborhood. So, like, you just walk up and you're like, oh, there's a Division I basketball, right here. And then you walk in and you're like, oh, Bill Russell played here. I think Casey Jones played here. And then you're like, Bill Cartwright played. You know what I mean? And, like, you start looking at, like, some of the older players and you're like, like the history of early college basketball. You're like, well, this is a pretty cool gym.
Yeah.
And they've done a good job of renovating it. So it's just it's a small, cool atmosphere. And then you're just like, oh, we gotta go play in the Chase Center. And that's a beautiful building, but it's for, it's just big. Yeah, it's just big. So then you get in there and there's 4,000 people, if that, and it's just like
that's so like it's only like 4,000 people, and like that's so weird that they wouldn't. I mean,
they
I
just
get
got to make
the extra 1,000 tickets.
You got to
like,
make the money. Yeah, you got to make the money, and I get it. But it's just like for us on a personal level, it's like I wanted to call one more game there. I'll probably never go to that gym ever again.
Right?
What's the point?
Yeah.
And so you're just like, and I had one of my best games I've ever had there.
Yeah.
As a junior, and it was like a little bit disappointing in that sense. And the Chase Center is fantastic. That and the one down in L.A. that the Clippers play at they rival each other on just the uniqueness of the technology and how they look. You know what I mean? But then you're like, there's people here, but there's not.
Yeah.
So you're just like, okay. And San Francisco was dangerous because they had a shot to beat us up in Spokane. That's one of the games Graham didn't play. So we were playing pretty much small ball, but they've been really struggling as of late. I think after that game they lost 5 of 6, I think, if my memory serves, and just not playing good basketball. And it kind of showed, like, early on. They had a little bit of fight, but we were just too much inside. Graham had another terrific game, but we were flying around, doing a much better job. Defensively on Beasley, remember he had a big game up here, and they went 14 of 28 in Spokane.
Yeah.
And 9 of 15 from three. Yeah. And in the second half, I'm getting ahead of myself, not finishing the thought. And so my point is the emphasis down there was like, just take away the 3 line. They don't want to throw it inside. They're a perimeter team, and a lot of these WCC teams are, but this is an analytic. We got to make threes. We got to shoot a ton of threes. And we did that in the first half. We didn't play pretty. It wasn't like we were rolling, but the atmosphere wasn't great, and that's not an excuse, but sometimes it is. Like when it's just there's no life, no juice in the building, and we're up 41-29, controlling every aspect of the game. Shot 54% in the first half. Didn't shoot a ton of free throws. 3 of 3. It was pretty much a clean game. Second half rolls around, and it was much more the same. We ended up going +9 in the second half, so ended up winning by, 21? We hold them in the first half to 36%, 1 for 11 from 3, which is terrific. Second half, 9 of 26, 4 of 13, so we didn't allow the same thing to happen in the first games, to get hot from 3, to get back in the game. And they shoot 20 of 56, 35 overall, so defense was terrific. We're -1 on the glass, but the context to that was, if you watch the game or listen to it, I think the first possession they missed 4 layups in a row. Do you remember that? They literally missed like 4 point blankers. But got all the rebounds. So then you look down, like the first media timeout, I was like, oh, it's 7-1 rebounding. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. So sometimes there is context to that. But we took care of the basketball, 19 assists, only 7 turnovers, 11 steals. I said Graham had a terrific game, 10 of 17. 22 points. Emmanuel backed up at 16 points with 8 rebounds, 12 points, 6 of 11, so efficient again. 4 steals. He's been terrific. You've seen him move in the more in the lineup. Jalen Worley got back to playing better. He's had a thigh issue. I don't think it's never been announced.
Okay.
But if you've watched, he's had a pad on his thigh.
Okay. I did not see that.
Yeah, like the Santa Clara game, he was limping, and it was like, that's why he didn't play very much. It wasn't like he didn't look explosive.
Yeah.
And now that last game, he was probably 75% or whatever, and he looked better. So he's going to get back to help. But he took like a stinger in the Portland game. So it was just been bothering him. So if people are wondering, like, why is he not playing? It's because of injury. But he got back to playing good, and he's a tough ass. And Adam Miller falls up that 21 with a good, efficient game, 4-6, 9 points. Davis Fogel was good, had 8 points, 5 rebounds in 24 minutes. Tyon played okay. And then, kind of the big thing, not a big thing, but something that's noticeable was we started Mario. And he didn't, that's a lot. The first time he started since the Oregon game. If everybody remembers that, the one in Portland, and Braden Smith had a good game off the bench. Remember that? That one, but that was the game that Mario was sick. And he had that. Remember, he had like that 3 game where he wasn't very good.
Yes,
he was sick, he was sick or whatever. It just really affected him. But he played terrific. He was 4-6, 2 of 3 from downtown. Made all 4 of his free throws. 14 points, 6 assists, only 1 turnover, 4 rebounds. He played 33 minutes. So like I said, we go 54% overall, 5 of 17, not great again from 3. Only -1 on the glass. That one was an asterisk. We're a good glass team. So it was a really good win. Now, is San Francisco having a great year? No, but it was one of those scary teams in a neutral building. And then if you look at all their, main guys, only 2 guys scored in double figures. All right, and we hold Beasley, who's probably one of the better guards on paper or on stats in our league. He goes 1 for 5. We don't even let him get a 3-point, a field goal attempt up. So they got the message there. The Riley kid, the lefty for them, looked good. He has 16 points. And then Legend Smiley from, I think he played at Garfield or whatever, Washington State kid. So I always root for those kids. He had another good game. He had 10, but he had the good game up in Spokane, like 16 or 18. So what I'm trying to get at is a great road trip with a flight, with a 1-day break. Everybody's always clamoring about saving money, but let's fly again. You know what I mean? It's just whatever.
It does, like when you mentioned earlier in the season that like that WCC is messing with us. It seems like that.
And the conference great. It is, and like when I'm talking about the nostalgia stuff, I really mean it because I've been around this league 20 years. Being from Spokane and then obviously starting to call games, but playing in it. Like these gyms are fun. You don't get these atmospheres at a lot of places. And there's a real nostalgia into small college gyms, walk-up arenas, and then going watching high-level hoops. That part sucks.
Yeah.
But also, like I get where people have to, you got to pay bills.
Yep.
And that's just how the world works. But, San Francisco just hasn't had a great year, but they've always been a kind of a thorn. Not that they beat us, but they always give us a good matchup, and especially in War Memorial. So I was like, man, I want to play them one more time there. Because if you just think back, the fans listening, okay, they had the Rasheer Bolton game. Remember, he scores that layup, and then that random dude gets up and like shoves him on the baseline like 3 years ago or whatever. Remember that? Mm-hmm. But he was yelling at him, but he was yelling at the ref. But on TV, it looked like he was yelling right at Rasheer Bolton. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, and then remember in whatever one of our really good teams, I think it was Perk and BC and Rui, that crew. Remember, we had to score like 4 points in the last minute to beat them down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we've had some sneaky, like, it's hard to win in this gym, some good ones, right?
Definitely.
So, like, and I've always talked about, like, especially from a broadcasting standpoint, I know some of the fans would disagree, but I rather call those, even if we don't play good. Even the Portland game, I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, well, let's see if we can get out of it. Oh, we couldn't. All right, move on, guys. But you know what I mean? So, like, it was a little bit sad that we didn't get to end it there. But another good trip of good, solid basketball. Our guys are really, coming together. Graham, 8 straight 20.
The Perimeter will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
It's time for Home Team Rewards. Zag fans, get your Bulldog branded ICCU Premier Rewards Visa credit card, the only card where you can earn rewards for everyday purchases while giving back to Gonzaga University. Choose from a Visa Rewards card with a lower rate or a Premier Rewards card with maximum rewards. With no annual fees, card control, and next-level security, you can spend smart from tap to app. Zags, rejoice! Find your card at iccu.com/GoZags on approved credit.
Good, solid basketball. Our guys are really, coming together. Graham, 8 straight 20-point games. I think Huddy said it on the air, and I'm just saying because I did it my junior year, and Derek Ravio did it his senior year. So the year after I left, he did it 8 straight games of 20 points. So that's a unique record to have.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Where you have a stretch, and people think you get the ball all the time, you score. It's harder than it looks, man. You know what I mean? Like, it really is, and especially when you're the main focus on the scouting report. And then sometimes you just have an off night. Like, it just doesn't go in, or sometimes, you're getting double teamed, or, defense is helping. You got to make the right basketball play and throw it to the right guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to throw it to the person that's open. Like, that's part of hoops. And then you look up and you're like, well, you had a bad game. You only had 14. Like, I actually probably played the right way and we won. You know what I mean? So that stuff always takes a part of it. But Graham Ike has got to be considered to be an All-American at this point, in my opinion. Like, the way he's strung together these games, especially with Huff being out, the efficiency he's shown. I'll be really surprised if he doesn't get on some sort of All-American team at any level. And then it's going to be tough if I'm the league. I know he missed 3 games, but if you look at his body of work, hopefully he continues to play well in these last 3.
Yeah.
How he's not the league MVP. And that's not a taken away from the Morrison kid is the one that comes to my mind for St. Mary's. But you usually go the best player on the best team.
You kind of have to.
You kind of have to, and that's not a homer. That's not a homer stance. It's not. It's just a realistic stance of, hey, he's strung together some pretty good games in this league consistently, and
that kind of leads me to the question about the McGillivray's Foundation Player of the Week. I brought up a stat that Ike has won his after this last week, won his 5th Player of the Week not in a row, but of the season. Like, how much do those play into winning the award? Like, there's no one else
that's a good question.
Sniffed 5.
Yeah, that's and that would be something that I think an SID or somebody would have to put into the notes to the voters.
Yeah,
he has won in bold, italicized. He's won 6 Player of the Week awards, so he probably is the MVP. So,
do you vote in that?
No, I don't even know who does. I think the coaches do.
Okay,
and then. That's a good question, but no, I don't get a vote.
It seems like they would have maybe press team.
I think it should, and this is not just because I'm doing it, but TV and the people who do the radio, they see all the games and they see all the teams, so it would make sense. But then. And I get where this could get probably some people would just homer vote the entire time, and I would have some slight bias, but I wouldn't go well, that guy plays at St. Mary's, I'm not going to vote for him. I would never do that. You know what I'm saying? I just wouldn't, because I just think that's unfair. And there's good players in this league. There really is. I talk about it when I call the games. I'm like, yeah, that guy could play for us. You know what I mean? He's good. You know what I mean? So, but I'll be curious to see how Graham, does.
Right now, Graham is averaging 19.9 points per game in the WCC, and the next player below him is Morrison at 19.1.
So yeah, I mean, I think Graham's is now we have 3 more games.
Yep.
But I think he's in the he's the leader out of the clubhouse to get that award. Now we have to talk a little bit about the shorting rotation. We have to do it because everybody's gonna wonder why.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I mean, I was running the marathon in Kyoto when the Santa Clara game was going, so I got to listen to that entire game running my marathon.
Oh, nice.
And so I listening to you and Huddy go back and forth, especially on the first early possession.
See, hold on. You're in Japan and you can still listen to the game, so the people listen to the podcast, you can always tune in.
Exactly.
And listen to the pregame and the postgame show. Keep going. Sorry.
But it was it was such an experience to listen to it on the radio because you kept on talking about how loud it was in there.
Oh, it was blaring loud.
And you could hear it over the mics too. And And I was just like, this has like really good atmosphere, and I'm just listening to it on the radio.
Yeah, it was terrific. It was awesome. Honestly, it felt good. It was like, hey, this is a good way to go out. Obviously, winning helps that.
Yeah.
But it was just a great college basketball environment. And, you know, I was really, really pleased. But, you know, we started Braden Smith, and then the next game against San Francisco, Mario got the starting nod. So we've gone back and forth this entire season on that. I think it's something that is part of like a deep team. I think both have given you different options and how they look personnel wise, and just you know what they can do to different defenses. It's different.
Yeah.
But I think at this point Mario's playing a little bit better, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's nice knowing that you have Player of the Year candidates, you know, in the Patriot League coming off your bench. You can run the second unit. I'm talking about Braden Smith. So I don't take too much stock into it as maybe some others do, because they both started at equal times this year. Not equal, but at certain times during the season.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, but rotations always get shorter. As the season progresses.
That's exactly what
always
I was
doesn't. And,
thinking about.
You know, Manny's playing terrific, so he's getting a tighter run. Tyon as well. And then, you know, the beauty of having like a Jalen Worley, he can be your third de facto guard. So if one of them's not playing well, you just, okay, now he's your backup guard, even though he's your starting four. That's why he was such a great add to this team was, you know, because I remember when he first got here, people were like, he can't shoot. How is he going to play? Like the coach's staff knew what they had. They're saying, we don't need him to shoot. We need him to be a junkyard dog and run the show, and then, you know, scores 10 to 12 points that he does on his little float games and all the tip-in stuff. And so personnel wise, we have, you know, a pretty good feel on how to counteract different situations offensively. You know, so it'll be curious to see how many minutes certain guys get as the season progresses, but I'm not surprised with some guys getting more minutes than the others, because you just you shorten your rotation as the year progresses. And some people get the short end of the stick per se, but that's just how it goes. And I wish there was a different way to put it. But it's natural. And I've always liked how much what's the word, like depth we've had. Yeah. But I've always been like, I'm a 7.5, 8.5 rotation type of guy. Yeah. As a coach. Now, obviously, I'm not coaching Division I basketball, but like I wanted my players to be on the floor, knowing that if they make a mistake, like my best players, they can still stay out there. Obviously, not counting foul trouble or a weird matchup, but I want you out there like in a complete rhythm, knowing that you can make a mistake and still continue to play. And then, but start, you know, now you can roll and start producing. I think that's what Coach Few's going to get to, and you've seen that in the last two games. Yeah.
What type of dimension does Manny add to the team with all the additional playing time he's been getting?
Well, he's our best wing defender not by far, but he's him and Jalen. He gives you a unique, strength defensively. He really does. He's actually shot it good in spurts from three. Yeah. He really has. He's had some games where he shoots it well, and he's capable. Yeah. And then he's actually added the like rip drives and made those little floaters. And then like usually once or twice a game he gets like a tip in, or like, you know, a guy falls down and he gets like a gross layup. Yeah. You know, those things add up. Yeah. Like those type of plays. And then he's smart enough to realize, you know, if I catch it on the wing, if there's Graham EKs right there, I need to throw him the ball. Or if the ball gets thrown to me, it's not going to stick to my hands. I'm just going to ping it to the other side. And that's winning hoops. Like that's not just the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but coaches know that with certain units, certain guys. That's why when you watch NBA games and you'll see certain guys and, you know, you see the idiots online like, how's this guy still in the league? You're like, well, if he's on the second unit and the second unit is a really good second unit, he's part of that second unit. You know what I'm saying? Right. He knows who to throw it to. He knows when to kick it, you know what I mean? Like that's part of the overall like beauty of of hoops, but having certain different lineups. And I think Manny is one of those guys, but he's also capable to score 10-plus points.
Mm-hmm.
But if you watch him, he's good enough to guard ones by far. He's our best guy getting over the top of screens. Like, he never gets screened.
Yeah.
And I've told the story before. You know, I remember when Blake Stepp played. I played with Blake Stepp for a year, and he ends up getting drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like, he was a terrific player. And I can't remember what we were at a pickup, or we were somewhere, and John Stockton was with us. I think it was at the end of the year award banquet thing, and we're off to the side or whatever. And Blake literally asked him, like, what do I need to do? Like, just ask him, like, what do I need to get prepared? And like, one of the main points John said was like, can you get over ball screens by yourself? And and I was I was 19 years old, but it made me like, oh yeah. Because if you can get over the top by yourself, then there's no weak side help. Your big can just go into a plug, or you can hug up and take away the pick and pop. There's no penetration. The whole play is fucking dead.
Yeah.
So if you have guys like that are good enough to not get screened and fight over the top, it takes away so many actions and disorganization that the offense wants to get the defense to.
Yeah.
Then you get on the floor.
Yeah.
And so Manny does that. And he's really good coming off, you know, even DHOs. And he's just a super tough. Look at his body.
Yeah.
He's ripped.
He
like, he's like,
when he's on the court, he's a specimen. And
He is.
like, he's just like, he's all over the place. And I think watching him, he has that, he just brings energy to the court.
He brings energy, and he has a Zag feel.
Yeah.
You know, kind of just lunge pail a little bit. And like I said, he's a capable shooter. The only thing that my complaint with some of his game recently, in transition, he falls in love with the Euro step, and I've complained about that a ton. The Euro is overused, in my opinion. But anyway, it just is.
Yeah.
Like, if people get power outages, and you can see it coming. Like, I just wish he'd sometimes just go down, shoulder a guy, and go off two and smack it off the glass. You know what I mean? But that's here nor there. That's about the only thing that I've seen recently that I complain about, especially live. I'm like, you know, he had a couple where he Euros, and then, you know, the guy strips it, and it's still our ball. But it's like, nah, just literally shoulder the guy, not out of your cylinder, but just shoulder and just lay it up.
Yeah, it seems like taking that closer shot is a higher percentage, and it just seems like easier than trying to do the Euro.
When you do the Euro, it's a long step, and then a lot of times your third jump, unless you're an unbelievable athlete, is not upwards, it's outwards. So we used to call it a power outage. So then your third jump, if you can time it as a defensive player, you can jump back, and you can still stay in your cylinder and wall. Usually it turns into a punt. Now, if you come down with a base and still just do a 1-2 step and gather, now you're going upwards instead of outwards.
Yeah.
But everybody's taught all these young kids, and I get it. It's a terrific move in traffic, but it's just everybody's Euro. Like, I've seen it on the girls' side too. I'm like, just come down, sweetheart, and just go off a jump stop. I told my own daughter, I'm like, just jump and from 4 feet and just make it from 4 feet. You don't have to get to 2 feet. Anyway.
Yeah.
But Manny's been terrific. That's why he's playing more minutes. Adam Miller as well.
Yeah.
Has shot it better, and he's starting to hit the little mid-range. So yeah, the rotation's definitely gotten tighter.
The question I got to ask that I've seen everywhere, it hasn't been asked directly to us, but I think we'd get in trouble if we didn't address it, is where's Steel Venters?
That I don't know if something's bothering him injury wise. I think these just last two games, those other two guys were playing good.
Yeah.
I think he's still a capable shooter, a capable player, solid defensively. I think he's still going to get a chance to come in and play. But I maybe sometimes there's an injury that I don't know about because they don't tell us everything.
Right.
It could be something bother him in that regards. But those other guys have played well. So I wish I could give like a definitive, a definitive, answer on it. But I don't know. Now, speculation is personnel matchups in those games, or maybe something that the staff didn't like. But he's still a terrific player. He still has a chance to help us. He's helped us a ton this season. So I don't think the book is like, the page is turned is what I'm trying to get to. So I think there's still opportunity for him to play meaningful minutes and have meaningful opportunities. That's my best guess, and that's being honest.
Yeah.
So,
No, I was looking at the availability reports for the NCAA and like what do teams have to do, and like it's just the night before and 2 hours before tip off, if anyone's questionable, they have to put that on as a designation, or if they're out. And imagine even if they're available, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, it's the old Bill Belichick Patriots.
Yeah,
lower body injury.
Right.
Just quick side note. I remember he used to put everybody. Everybody on the injury report. Yeah, it's awesome.
And that's why
the entire team.
I think that's probably
questionable. The entire team. This is amazing.
I think it's why they got rid of the probable designation in the NFL.
Yeah, no, everybody's hurt.
Yeah,
prepare for all of them. It's hilarious.
Well, my M4CPA stat of the week was going to be bracketology, and we've already kind of covered it. Like I found 4. Yeah, I found this website called bracketmatrix.com, and it aggregates every
bracketologist.
Bracketologist. There's a lot. But basically of the brackets, like we are solidly in as a 3 seed right now.
It makes perfect sense with kind of where we're at, strength of schedule. What is going to be curious is once the season's done and we're really going into this. We had to do it last year by proxy. Like we had no choice.
Right.
We were like, oh shit, we got to really dive into our metrics. And it was good for us because it gave us a different view on, the Zags and the schedule. But like if we look back at some of our, quote unquote good wins. Like Creighton hasn't had a great year. That's not a knock on them. They just beat UConn. That helps. Arizona State hasn't had a great year. They just beat Texas Tech. That helps. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I think Oklahoma's having an okay year. But you know what I mean? So like you start going, and it's hard because you schedule these teams, and then afterwards you got to assume that you got to root for them afterwards. What's helped, I guess, would be Michigan blowing out everybody else.
That's true, yeah.
But you get into these, we talk about it on our show. We're guilty of it too. Like, oh yeah, we beat Oklahoma. It's gonna be a great win for us. And Creighton, and which it is at the time. You're like,
at the time,
this is a blue blood program. Historically, and sometimes it just injuries or what conference and all that stuff. And in some of these conferences, these guys playing like the Big 12, you can lose 3 games in four stretch and still be a really good basketball team.
Yeah, definitely.
Like look at Arizona, and we love Tommy Lloyd. They had to go Kansas, Texas Tech, and they just beat BYU. But that was their 3 games in a row. I think you had to play those 3 effing teams in a row.
Yeah. That's tough.
You won't even want to do that in a November Thanksgiving tournament when you can kind of control your first game. Like, hey,
right,
we'll play Chaminade if we come over, or like, like Central Michigan, we'll take them. And like we did that one year in Vegas. Remember, we played Duke, and then for the first game we played Central Michigan. It's like, all right, we'll take that one. And
exactly, yeah.
But anyway.
Kentucky's another one that I was like, they beat Arkansas.
See, but now people have them as a for sure in.
Yeah. No.
So they're halfway through the year. We were like, that's the other one. We were like, this is going to turn into not a good win. And now it's like, yeah, it's a really good win because they've turned it around. Mark Pope's done a terrific job of getting them back on track. So that's why it's so hard. And you kind of have to, with the bracketology stuff, and this is an obvious take, you have to wait until the conference tournaments are over because a lot of it fluctuates so much, especially in the situation that we're in when we're not in like a Power 4 with 7 teams getting in for sure. Because right now we're a 3-bid team in theory, but you don't know if St. Mary's is gonna. Let's say they lose another one and then they lose to us. Just theoretical. Yeah. And then what if they lose the semi game in the in the West Coast Conference. Then you start going. Then you have to look at their. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it has to do with conjecture and just figuring out and kind of guessing. But that gives us content, so I guess it's good for us.
I mean, the other thing I was looking at in this is like right now we are the WCC is a 3-bid league. And then I was like, well, how are our teams that we're going to be going into the Pac-12 with next year?
Yeah, it's good to see this. Yeah.
And I mean, right now it's Utah State.
Yeah.
And I mean, like is San Diego State on here?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I haven't heard anything about them. Colorado State, I don't know how good they've had because they were good last year. That was part of the it's going to be good. Boise State's had a down year. Love Leon Rice, but they've been better in the past. So yeah,
it's Utah State right now.
It'll be interesting, and that's going to be the fodder for a lot of our content next year. Is talking about the new league and where it stacks up, but then we'll get right back into the same old conversation. Please don't turn our podcast off, but NIL transfer portal, what this team's going to be, you know what I mean? So we have to look at the transfer portal for these clubs.
Yeah.
Or
we do. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
then for us too. So it's one of those things where you used to be able to kind of predict that just say San Diego State team, they're playing 4 freshmen, they're going to be much better next year. Can't do that anymore.
Can't do that anymore. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, you were talking about the San Francisco kid who Abuye, who's like I was like is Santa Clara. Sorry, Abuye. Yeah. I was just like, when you're talking about him, like, yeah, he's such a great player. I hope he stays at Santa Clara.
Yeah.
And
I talked about it at length from the Portland game, the Foxwell kid.
Right.
And you're like, I mean, look at Aiden Mahaney, who played at St. Mary's.
Yeah.
Remember the first 2 years we couldn't guard. I mean, we could guard him, but he was a problem. Then he transfers out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you can't. It's not blaming. We're not doing anything of that. But we're just being like, you just at these smaller schools, you literally don't know.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but it's the way the landscape is.
I mean, we're barely going to touch on the Pacific game, but Elias Ralph is third in the WCC at points per game at 16.6, and obviously Pacific's having a very really good year.
Yeah,
in comparison to how they've been playing over the last couple of years. But watch this kid on Saturday because he's probably going to play somewhere else next year.
Yeah, I mean, let's go over the Pacific real quick. They're 8-8 in conference, a 4th, 17-12 overall. That's good for them, and that's not a looking down. But in the years past, that's a really good record for where they've been. And you said this, Elias Ralph kid is playing terrific, 16.6. He's shooting 41% with volume from 3, 49 from the field, 88 free throw shooter. 6 rebounds a game. So you're sitting there and they're probably thinking the same thing, like trying to drum up some NIL for this kid to stay here.
Yeah.
But this is a real basketball team that we're going to have to go beat. And I've talked about it in the past, and especially if you listen to our broadcast, Pacific has always given us weird matchups compared to everybody else at the WCC. We had this, I think it was Huddy always makes the point, I think it was the 21 team that was undefeated, was down 8 at halftime at Pacific, or it was either the 17 team or the 21 team was down 8 at halftime one time.
Jesus,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they always play us a little physical. They play us just a little bit different. So this is going to be an interesting game Saturday, and they're in 4th place. So for them, they have a lot to play for. They haven't played probably in the semis and not having to play a Saturday night game in a long time.
Yeah.
So, for them, it's meaningful. And then, like I said, if you're looking at the crux of the rest of the league, St. Mary's and Santa Clara, their matchup is going to be massive for which side of the bracket do they get on, going into the West Coast Conference tournament. We still have things to take care of, but if we beat Pacific and then senior night, we beat Portland, we win the WCC in the last year regular season. We haven't done that in 2 years. I know we won the conference tournament last year, but we didn't win the regular season championship.
Yeah.
So that's a big step for us. And then it matters for who do we play in the semifinals. right? So it'll be interesting to see. But this is a much improved Pacific team. And for hell or high water, I'm not doing the Portland recap like I did, or the Portland preview. So yeah, we're gonna kick their ass, and then what the hell's going on? But this is a better team, 8-8 in the conference, much better. You want to get to the ICCU Ask Adam question?
Yeah. So I found this question. The Perimeter will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
It's time for Home Team Rewards. Zag fans, get your Bulldog branded ICCU Premier Rewards Visa credit card, the only card where you can earn rewards for everyday purchases while giving back to Gonzaga University. Choose from a Visa Rewards card with a lower rate or a Premier Rewards card with maximum rewards. With no annual fees, card control, and next level security, you can spend smart from tap to app. Zags, rejoice! Find your card at iccu.com/GoZags on approved credit.
Much better. You want to get to the ICCU Ask Adam question?
Yeah. So I found this question come through, and it's from a while ago, but I was like, I am curious about it. It's from Tim Harrington. He asks, set aside endorsements from commercials and appearances. And what is your estimate on how much players are getting paid via the collective? Surely you must have some idea. Now, I don't know if that's true. If you surely have some idea. I'd
like to think I do. I wouldn't have this. I shouldn't have this podcast.
Right. No, for sure.
I can turn it off. So I'm gonna have to go through this diplomatically as best I can. So a lot of the times, and again, just like everything in society, the internet skews what's real. Yeah. Okay. And a lot of times people just put stuff out to put stuff out. Now, is that because of random fans? Yes. Is it because of agencies wanting to create leverage for their own clients? That's usually the answer. One of the old sayings, I guess, is, especially in sports, and especially like during contracts, stuff gets out because somebody wanted it out.
Got it. Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so what I'm trying to get into is, we've all heard this guy's making $4 million a year.
Right.
He's making $3 million. Okay. Might be true, but sometimes there's some BS behind it. Gotcha. Now that happens more in the football side, especially with like the quarterbacks, because that's a huge market for a quarterback. Some of them that are not going to play ever again because there's a minor league now, but you know what I'm saying? Right. You better go get your money now especially in that sport, right?
Definitely.
And if you're not like an NFL quarterback, you're not an NFL quarterback. There's no way to like sneak into that position. You know what I mean? And so my point is, a lot of the nuance or the BS gets thrown out there. Now, with these collectives, they vary from school to school. And now you've seen, I don't know if you've seen, like the University of Utah is doing like I'm not phrasing this the right way, but basically like private equity is going to control their collective. So like invested in the markets. Yeah. It's just, okay. I know Texas Tech, and again, I'm not 1,000% on the details, but I'm mostly right. Theirs is based on, I believe, an endowment that's tied to like oil money. Okay. So that's why their football team, obviously good coaching, but that's why all of a sudden, so they're good. They just have all this like endowment money. Yeah. That's basically based off like real financial markets. And so, yeah. And so with the endorsements and commercials, that stuff you'll never know. But like, remember when Drew Timme had the hilarious Northern Quest commercials, and they actually did a good one this year with Braden and Graham. Just well done, and Quest has been great to us, and I know some of the upper guys. They're great people. They've been great to the community, especially Gonzaga. There was a number floating around with Drew was making, and I had dinner one time with one of their heads, and he was like, "That's not true. That's not what we're paying them." Right. Yeah. So that's my point. That's the only reason I'm. Not that he didn't make a lot of money, but it was like, that's numbers not even close, right?
I think the point is, you're like, these numbers that are being thrown out there, whatever you're hearing is probably not true.
It's probably not true. And it's not to be burst somebody's bubble or be like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm not saying it like that. But also I'm saying that some of these guys are making $500,000. Yeah, that's complete $500,000 plus.
Yeah,
is completely reasonable, but there is some complete utter nonsense that gets thrown out there. So to bring it all together, I know it was a long-winded, but I had to, because you have to answer it with complete context.
Yes,
you can't just be like, I know they're making this much. Nobody really knows for sure,
right?
Because there is no CBA or whatever collective bargaining, or there's no union. So like it's based on whatever the, and I wouldn't be surprised if the universities just go, oh yeah, we're going to pay you this, but you have to sign an NDA and you can't disclose what you make.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then the numbers, so then leverage can't be used against you. But I do know that there are instances, and I'm not 1,000% sure with us, but there's players in the country getting $1 million plus. I know Cooper Flagg was making like 5+ or something like that. The kid from AJ Ambasta or whatever his name is from BYU, he's terrific. He's going to be a top 5 pick. I think he was getting like 6, 7 or something. That was the number. But that was coming from a billionaire, the Jazz owner. Was the story everybody told. But then everybody wanted to be like, was it coming from the LDS church? This collective stuff is bonkers, man.
It sounds.
It just is.
Because it can come from anywhere.
It can come from anywhere. And so, like, I think the original intent of the rule was, like I've said it, NIL meant name, image, likeness. Okay, if I want to go to Northtown Mall and sign autographs, why can't I get $500 as an 18-year-old kid? Like, why does that bother anybody? And that was the intent of the original. That was the original intent.
Yes. Because
I remember Terrell Pryor and the tattoo incident with Ohio State. They got screwed over. He just got free tattoos for some gear. Looking back, everybody's like, how could you do that? It's like, now you look back, you kind of laugh. You're like, he sold his private gear for some tattoo work. Like, that's not, why can't he? It's his own gear.
Right.
He got it himself. You know what I mean? So it is really curious. Thank you for the question, Tim Harrington. But I know a kind of a base of it, but a lot of it that you hear is untrue.
Yeah, smoke and mirrors.
It's smoke and mirrors, and it's agents going against themselves. I do know, and Huddy brought this up, and it was terrific. There was a booster, I think, in Florida for University of Florida. I'm not completely sure. And there was he listed the demands that a potential recruit wanted. And I think he did it. The booster was probably like, all right, I've had enough. And this kid wanted, like some ungodly amount per month. Private photographer, controlling when he substitutes out of the game. Like, so like I think it's gotten to the point where some boosters, and rightfully so, I don't care how wealthy you are, it's like, what am I getting out of this?
Right.
And I think that happens way more on the football side. I don't think it's not as bad in college basketball. I'm not just saying that because we run basically a college basketball podcast.
Yeah.
But some of the NIL stuff is absolutely bonkers if you really deep dive into it. But again, you don't know that, like, unless you ask for tax returns.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Right? And then how do you really know? And a lot of times universities and private entities, if they don't have to open their books, I'm not opening my books for you.
Right.
And that's perfectly reasonable for anybody, for any institution, unless you're a taxpayer funded.
That is the advantage
open your books
of Gonzaga being a private university, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say it's an advantage, but we have a good NIL base, and we have terrific boosters that open their own personal pocketbooks up. We have terrific athletic giving, and I'm not just saying that just because of the NIL. Look at the last 20 years, what we built. That doesn't just happen. So we've had really generous giving people who believe in the mission statement of Gonzaga and Gonzaga basketball, people that have been really nice to me as well, just on a personal level. So we're in the same neighborhood, but we're not obviously like the Texas Tech, and that's just, but that's, everybody should know that. That's not a crazy take.
That's not a crazy take.
You know what I mean?
I think the best thing about all of this is, like, yes, we have Gonzaga has NIL money, but I would say, as a fan, it's nice seeing players come here who want the opportunity to play for a championship, go to the tournament, and improve their draft stock.
You were 1,000% right. It's part of our I hate saying shtick, but our thing is culture.
Yeah.
Like you come here and all right, maybe you get a little bit more, and a little bit is a real thing from somewhere, but we know we play a pro style.
Yeah.
We get up and down. Coach Few lets you play through mistakes. And if you've watched and listened to this podcast, he does.
Yeah.
He can be hard, but he lets you play through mistakes. And a lot of guys have gone to the draft since in his era, especially the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So if that means a lot to you, you're going to be fine. And if you really, and also too, if you really believe in your own personal ability, kind of bet on yourself and your, growth as a player, the money's going to come on the backside.
Absolutely.
And that money is going to be significantly more than a little bit here at first, but you don't get the proper development and you don't get the proper exposure and you don't get the proper training, and then it doesn't work out. So I think that's why we've been able to stay in the conversation with high-level recruits is, we have money and we have, like I said, great boosters. We really do. And our athletic giving department's terrific. Our president gets it. Our AD gets it. But also there's people in the stands. You're on television all the time.
Yeah.
And we play a pro system, and some pretty good players have played here. Like, so if you don't want that, then I'm sorry, we don't want you either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So terrific question, and I know it's a long-winded answer, but it really is. It's a weird world to deal in because we hear it all the time. Just, this kid got what? And I'm not talking about our guys.
No.
But then you're like, and then you go talk to the radio guy or whatever, and they're like, no, he got X amount, and you're like, okay, it was complete bullshit. And it's good money, but you're also like, sometimes it literally is, agents putting stuff out there to leverage their way up to a different deal.
Yeah.
Which is, can't believe this is where we're at in college basketball.
No, but I mean, it's come up a lot in whether or not we should be treating these players like pro athletes or not.
Well,
or
that's a whole different.
Or critiquing them like pro athletes and not being students.
So I've gone the way of I've been a little bit more critical, especially on air, than I have in the past in the last 3 years, because I do factor in that aspect of like, well, we are paying you.
Yeah.
Is it fair? No. Well, it kind of is fair. So then I look at it, but also they are still young. They're kids.
Yeah.
And I say that in a respectful manner, but they're even though they're over 18, they're kids.
Yeah.
And they're young developing players. But also if you don't see, for me, it's the little things. If you don't see hustle, punctuality, professionalism, quote unquote, then that's when the critiquing is open doors because you're getting a paycheck.
Right.
Now, if they weren't, you could still be like, well, he's just young, a young kid. So I think that's where, for me, I've increased my critiqueness or my being critical, I guess. I don't know if critiqueness is a real word. Is things like that.
Yeah.
But we don't recruit guys like that.
We don't, yeah.
We don't. Even in the NIL world, we're not taking guys that are not going to play hard, not going to be punctual. You know what I mean? Not going to be professional on a certain level. If they aren't, they don't pan out. They don't play.
Yeah. And it seems like Coach Few runs a very tight ship. So,
well, would you want to deal with him? Coach Few's, I think he's 60 years old. Would you want to deal with that bullshit?
No.
You know what I mean? That's somebody, that's for anybody listening to this, in any profession. You get to a certain point, you're like, I don't want to deal with the bullshit.
Yeah.
I just don't. And you don't have to be like Mussolini or just crazy, like, we do it this way. It's like, no, there's certain things I don't want to have to address. We shouldn't have to address getting to the bus on time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Having the right gear on. You know what I mean? It's just little stuff like that. Showing up to your weight training session. You're like, okay. So I get it.
Yeah. Well, last part of this show, we have some tickets to give away. We have 2 tickets to give away to next week's senior night game against Portland. And I got the wheel out again. I'm going to record the screen. Ooh. And so I can.
So it's two tickets
presented by McGillivray Environmental. Thank you to Kip.
Yep.
For doing this 2 years in a row. He's been terrific. He's a terrific sponsor, friend of mine, a donor of the program. Everybody loves Kip. He's been great to me. He's been great to people close to me.
Yeah.
So thank you, Kip. Thank you, McGillivray Environmental. Some lucky fan's going to go to senior night. That's pretty special.
Yeah, last game of the season. Last WCC
game of forever.
Yeah.
For eternity. So thank you again.
I will say, if I don't have your full name and you're one of the Apple Podcasts reviewers, you have a username. If you're probably listening to this podcast, I'm going to post this on social media. Get back to me very soon.
How much time do they have? We got to give that some credit.
You have until Sunday.
Until Sunday? Sunday at noon Pacific.
Perfect.
You don't do that?
And Sunday at noon Pacific, that's when you have to get back to me if I don't have your full name.
If you don't get back, Brennan will spin again on a post and we'll do it. So hopefully you listen to this.
Yeah. It seems like everyone who's in this is someone who is either listening to the show or has, because like we haven't done a ton of social media posts about this.
Yes.
So like no one. So here we go. We're gonna spin the wheel. All right. The winner is _Todd. I guarantee this is from either Instagram or hopefully this is from Instagram. But if it's from Apple Podcasts and it's _Todd,
all lowercase. Send me a screenshot of your review if you haven't already. I'm going to go look at this right now and try to contact this person. But if you're listening and I haven't contacted you yet, contact me. You have until Sunday at noon Pacific time. Noon, yeah. Pacific, yeah.
Pacific. So awesome.
Congratulations _Todd.
Yeah, and I will. I'll come see you at the game, and definitely if whoever wins, we'll try to get you down. And say,
yeah, you come say what up to us. Last year we had the winner and took a couple pictures, and say what up and tell them thanks for listening. We really do appreciate again McGillivray Environmental for setting this up. Kip's good dude, and it's very generous of him to do that, and it's also cool for our listeners a chance to go to a game.
Yeah,
honestly, it's hard ticket to get, obviously. So thanks to our sponsors, McGillivray again. Idaho Central Credit Union, M4CPA will be back next week with a recap of Pacific. Are we going to go to Portland? Or are we going to wait before?
I think. We should probably just. My idea was that we would just go back to normal schedule. That way we can talk about
Portland
senior night,
and then senior night. Yeah,
and then,
good call. So we'll be back Monday.
Yeah,
we'll be back Monday. Shorter episodes, we'll have Pacific, but we'll start breaking down kind of our outlook. I know we've done bracketology, but we'll start deep diving into the numbers compared to other 3 seeds, 2 seeds, 4 seeds, kind of where we stack up, and then kind of guessing where we might be as far as regionally. I know there's stated slots and all those things of all those nature. Thank you.